Hey guys, this is a market update. The bull market carries on. 100K is irrelevant. It's a stepping stone. We go much higher in this bull market because money supply growth still going upwards, interest rates still dropping. That's a bull market for risk assets. So I'll talk about that in this video, but 100K completely irrelevant. We are obviously going to reject from it the first time, right? Reject. You get some sellers in here taking profits, maybe some short sellers coming in knowing that 100K is a level that's just going to get rejected a few times before we break through. It's massive. 100K, as we break through it, that is essentially Bitcoin now becoming the world's best asset. Once you break 100K, right? So once you go in 16 years from zero, literally giving the coins away for free, to $100,000 a coin, that thing is the world's top asset, which means that it's going to keep growing. You don't get from 0 to 100 and then the whole thing kind of collapses and people forget about it. We are crossing the Rubicon at 100,000, where every single person on earth has to have a Bitcoin position and a strategy, right? You're seeing corporates now get in at a big scale, even governments, right? Governments around the world buy and hold and mine Bitcoin. Here in the UAE, they're doing it, right? So everyone's got the strategy. They're not going to tell you until they have huge positions, but everyone now must have a strategy as we reach 100K Bitcoin. So as we reach 100K and go through it, for me, that means it goes from 100 to $1 million per coin. As we break 100, there is no other option other than for this thing to keep growing as everyone now gets a position. So 100K completely irrelevant. In this bull market, I still think we have a lot of upside. Let's say 200K, 150, 200K. So I still think going long Bitcoin works. And I still think that the Bitcoin leverage plays like MicroStrategy, they're still going to work. You can see everyone's talking about it. It's a bull market. Everyone's talking about the bull market trades that are working. Now, fast forward 6 to 12 months and it's a different story. But for right now, we're still in the bull market and it's still go time. If you do trade crypto, you can get a deposit bonus on Bybit, which is the trading system I use, up to $30,000 when you make a deposit. Just click the link below for the details. And this is the last week of the 21% discount for the crypto investor course as well. So if you want to get that discount, it's going to run out next week. So click the link below if you want to find out the details. You just put the BTC code in and get 21% off. We have to differentiate technical trades and bull market trades and making money versus actual underlying assets. If you have a time horizon of 10 years plus, which any investor would have, then you have to focus more on fundamentals and assets. If you're looking to make money in a bull market, then you buy trades and you don't worry too much about the long-term fundamentals. Every single company eventually goes bust or fails or gets outcompeted. I'll show you data at the end of this video. That's why investing in equities is so risky, because every single one of them eventually will fail, like 100% hit rate. Go back to the S&P or the Dow, right, and see what companies were the leading companies back 50 years ago, right? Virtually none of them are competing now, and they're certainly not in the top. So every generation or every 50 years or so, these companies actually rotate. Investing in equity and securities, bonds, and equity of company is incredibly risky. And that is why you get this diversification thing coming out. You have to diversify. It's because those companies you invest in eventually will fail. And that's 100% hit rate. So we move forward to Bitcoin, which has none of those risks because it's not a security, it's just money. So the longevity of BTC is what we're investing in. And we are in a golden age right now because what we're buying is the best thing in the world, right? The best investment. Property is garbage. 90% of the stock market is garbage, right? It's just literally the top 10 companies that give the vast majority of returns, right? And by the way, they basically don't outperform the currency debasement anyway, right? Just about. This is the world's best pristine asset, and it's currently got a CAGR of 40%. It's just the one opportunity of our lifetime. And most other trades are good for short term, but the long term, this is it. 10-year plus, it's Bitcoin, right? And I just think it has to be the absolute majority of a portfolio. There's nothing else to invest in. It's all garbage, except for like NASDAQ and Bitcoin. If you want the S&P, that's fine, but you're not outperforming and basically no growth versus currency debasement. So there's like two things in the whole world to invest in. Everything else is literally pointless because if you have a 10-year time horizon, dollar cost average it, this is pristine A1 capital, right? This is it. This is what everyone wants. And we are still in the stage where a lot of people don't really get it or are underexposed, and it has that 40% CAGR right now. So that's the long term. Short term, loads of stuff is going to outperform because it's a trade. we're in a bull market right now because everyone is focusing on trades and how things are outperforming. That's all bull market stuff. Fast forward 12 months or 18 months, when the bull market's over and rates are having to like rise a little bit again, and suddenly everyone's worried about all the macro stuff again, inflation and central bank. No one is interested in that right now. Everyone's forgotten about all of that stuff we were talking about 2 years ago because it's a bull market. Prices are going up, so everyone's getting really in the weeds with the technical details about all of these trades. Shouldn't be a focus for me. Bitcoin is a focus. All of these trades are good on the side, and you can outperform, but know what you own, right? Because over a long time horizon, I think Bitcoin is still the play. Risk reward, own the best thing, right? First principles, own the best thing. So global money supply right now, inflecting to the upside. You can see a very clear correlation between money supply and BTC and obviously the US dollar price. Makes sense because we're valuing Bitcoin in these fiat currency units. Fiat currency units are expanding, therefore Bitcoin goes up in price versus the fiat currency units. That's fine if you want to value Bitcoin in fiat currency units. Eventually, after you've held Bitcoin for a while and you run your balance sheet on Bitcoin, you realize that you can just value the things that you buy in Bitcoin instead. And you'll see that the price of those is going down, as it should, because humans create wealth by creating abundance. And if you have a neutral currency that can price in the creation of abundance, things get cheaper for you. So that's what Bitcoin really is. Bitcoin is not a trade for me. It is a long-term thing. You put your money in, you put your wealth in. If you have any, if you work hard and you have some value that you actually have left over, put it in Bitcoin and wait for it to price in other people working for you by creating abundance. That's what BTC is. And trades around that are fine, but this should be the bulk of a portfolio, right? In my opinion anyway. Global money supply, inflecting to the upside. Now, there has been some reports about money supply actually dipping recently. I think this is because US dollar strength. If you look at other currencies, they're getting hit, right? US dollar is still so strong. So I think US dollar is going to remain strong as a fiat currency. Fiat currency is required. Bitcoin is not a replacement for fiat currency. Fiat currency is a credit unit system, and banks want to create credit, right? Because that's their business. Businesses want credit. Young people want credit so they can buy stuff and create businesses. So you have to have a system that allows for that, which is the credit system, which is fiat currency, where you can create more units. Can't do that with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is not that. Bitcoin is an actual asset. Credit, debt, is a liability, right, for us. It's an asset for the bank, but obviously if you don't pay it back to the bank, it's their liability as well. Bitcoin is not that. It's not a replacement for currency. It's a digital asset. It's a store of value. And in any case, even if the US dollar is strong, right, stronger than other fiat currencies, just look at Bitcoin valued in dollars going up. Look at Bitcoin valued in most other currencies, right? Obviously, if they're going down against the dollar, they're going to be going down more against BTC. In any case, if the US dollar strengthens, it may look like world money supply is actually dipping, but that's not the truth. So if you can see here, this is US dollar money supply inflecting to the upside. It's funny how this actually coincides with bull and bear markets for BTC, because we keep looking at the fiat currency price of BTC, whereas what we really should be doing is thinking over 4, 8, 12-year time horizons, looking at the average cost of BTC over that time, the 200-week moving average, and then comparing that to the price of goods and services over time. And you'll just see that the price of goods and services is collapsing in BTC terms, because it should, because we create wealth. We are very good at creating abundance. And so a neutral currency should just price in that abundance by those things becoming extremely cheap in Bitcoin terms. And that is what is happening over time. So US dollar money supply increasing. We'll go down to Euro money supply right here, which is this one, increasing. And if you look at the net percentage of domestic banks tightening standards for commercial and industrial loans, you can see they're actually loosening right here. So this is basically a bull market. We've had the drawdown, right? Central bank said tighten, that happened, and now we're going through a loosening again. And now, when this happens, this creates inflation because the credit money system will expand itself. If the US keeps dropping rates, inflation there is still not at their target. Maybe it will come down over time, but it's still above target, right? So at some point, inflation will inflect back to the upside again, because that's just what happens in the fiat system, and they'll have to tighten again. That's the next bear market. For right now, everything is bullish for risk assets. So it's a bull market and it's on and it's going higher. I still think there's legs in the bull market trades which can outperform Bitcoin. It's up to you whether you want to bother with that if you think you can time it, because bull market trades outperform to the upside. Most of them just mean that they're a levered play on Bitcoin. That could be altcoins, or it could be MSTR, or any of the other assets that are doing this. Some of the miners are now doing the micro strategy, Bitcoin strategy, leveraging up their balance sheet, issuing convertible bonds. So all of that's going to do great in a bull market. And then when the bear market comes around, you would expect a leveraged balance sheet on Bitcoin to underperform. So know what you own and know how you're comfortable trading that if you want to own those. Or, we're still in a stage where, look, if Bitcoin goes up 100% from here, all of that stuff's going to do really well. If Bitcoin's at 200K, there is no room for that stuff to do well anymore, right? It's already priced very highly, like it's levered Bitcoin, right? The market will be valuing everything very, very high and everyone will be euphoric. But the fact is that the next stage after that is a drawdown, right? You don't go like that and then up again. That's my opinion anyway, because we're all fixated with the fiat price of Bitcoin. A lot of people are looking to make money with Bitcoin. Well, the longer you hold it, the more you make, because fiat currency will debase against it. So it's going to go up in fiat terms. But like I said, that's not the trade here. The trade is to store your value in BTC and wait for the entire rest of the world to create abundance in goods and services so that they just become cheaper and cheaper and cheaper over time versus the amount of BTC that you have. That's the play. And the longer that you wait, the more abundance will be created. So this is Fidelity's valuation model here. And the upper and lower bound is essentially with real interest rates and what they are. So if real interest rates are negative, then the fiat currency price of Bitcoin is going to obviously buoy up a little bit towards this top line. If real rates are positive, down here, that will be the bottom line right here. But in any case, it's very clear that we are in a massive adoption for BTC. So can you just wait 10 years? Like, I know everyone wants to make money right now, and you see it online, everyone's saying, can we make money this cycle, etc. Why think such short term? You have like these blinkers on. If you're going to live for a while, then you should have a plan. And the plan is you just wait. Just wait a decade and Bitcoin goes up to $1 million per coin. So my own analysis has Bitcoin, the 200 moving average, let's say around 500K. And then obviously if you're in a bull market, that could go up to $1 million, maybe in a bear market, around that, maybe a little bit lower. So if you just wait, that's a 10x. Bitcoin, 2 trillion, goes up to 20 trillion, becomes the world's top asset, outperforming everything else. And it, dethrones gold as the number one asset in the world. That is what I think will happen to Bitcoin. And so I'm here for the ride. I don't really care. It's 100, 150, doesn't really bother me. Goes up to 200, goes back to like 100. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I think you just hold for a decade and then you at some point have $1 million per coin. And so that's the trade for me, not if we're going to hit 100 or 80 or 110. It's completely irrelevant. You have to think decade at least and then get your strategy from that. And don't give up any of your BTC trading bull market trades when BTC is at 150, 200K this cycle, when they're very, very, very overvalued, right? If you want to make those trades, you have to actually make them in a bear market and then wait. So it's actually a waiting game to outperform. You either wait for your time to make those bull market trades. The bull market trades happen in the bear market. As you can see, we're breaking through now. And so the opportunity to make money from bull market trades is actually diminishing. Right? I still think we have another 1 or 2 pumps up to the top level we get to this bull market. But eventually the bull market trades won't work anymore, right? But everyone's going to be shouting about them because they would have performed. But you need to take them in the bear market. In any case, Bitcoin, fundamental of the portfolio in my opinion. It's going to outperform anything else and it's more diversified than everything else. From a risk-adjusted standpoint, it's the only thing to invest in. I've looked everywhere. This is the only thing. And you hold it for a decade and it's $1 million per coin. If you're not a professional trader or investor, then you have to invest in the index because active trading is basically not going to make any money versus the index over time. These are professional fund managers that do this for a job, and 59% didn't survive, and 31% underperformed. Only 10% of active fund managers outperform the S&P. Now, there's only 2 things that you can actually buy that outperform the S&P or have done over the long term. One is the NASDAQ, US tech, and the other is Bitcoin. And by the way, Bitcoin is massively diversified as well. So if you want to active trade, that's great. Make those trades in the bear market, make them small, and then run them through a bull market. But if you're buying the bull market outperforming trades, as we reach the mature end of this bull market, you're in at the wrong price. And the reason everyone is talking about these trades right now is because they are outperforming now. And so they made the trades in the bear market. If you're the one coming in at the bull market trying to buy that at the wrong price, then what do you expect to happen in the next bear market? In any case, if you have a time horizon of 10 years, and by the way, if you're not a professional fund manager, then you probably should, because you have to play the odds as they are for you, which is you're not going to outperform. So you have to invest over the long term, because the long term is where we can actually make our returns, not trying to get caught up with all the trades. So if you can have a 10-year time horizon, then invest in the index. S&P, the only two things that outperform it that are actually investable is essentially Bitcoin and the NASDAQ. And so that's that. Now, most businesses fail. And most of the big businesses that were big 50 years ago aren't anymore and have been completely outperformed and wrecked. Investing in securities requires diversification because of how bad the investment is. The riskiest thing you can do is invest in securities, because they will all eventually fail and get beaten out and traded down. But Bitcoin doesn't have any of the risk of securities. It's a large worldwide money, the same as gold, which has been more or less demanded for 5,000 years. So just imagine 5,000 years of Bitcoin. This is the thing that you can build your portfolio off. 100K is just a stepping stone for me, in my opinion. Go a lot higher in this bull market, but it's not just this bull market. It's the next bear market and the bear market after that, which we should be investing in. Hold it and just don't sell it to $1 million a coin. If you do trade, Bybit deposit bonus down below up to 30K and 21% off the crypto investor course. Runs out next week. Just click the link below for the details and the discount code there. I'm James, it's Maisie G. Cheers for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.